the Denver Nuggets get a win, and this looks like, hey, champions 2025-26. Is that what we saw? I don't know. But look, they get a win. Everybody plays for the most part today. Peyton Watson get the start for Aaron Gordon. I got to say, Peyton Watson, he looks quite good. But do the Nuggets have a sleeper that's somehow hiding on the end of their bench? We're going to talk about all that today. Ryan Blackburn, Swipa, y'all know what time it is. This is Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Shout out to you all. Hope you're having a spectacular day. I hope you're having a great evening. I hope you got an opportunity to get your favorite drink tonight. Maybe sit by the fireplace and enjoy some Denver Nuggets basketball. Because, hey, we're back, and it's great. I don't care what basketball looks like. I'm just glad that we got games to talk about. Ryan Blackburn, first off, how are you doing today, my friend? How'd you like the game?
Man, I'm here with Santiago, just going to figure out how to whine about this one. Just going to figure out how to whine about this game. He says Ryan's going to whine about it. I mean, I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to talk to you about what actually happened with this game. But no, I mean, here's the thing. Like, the Nuggets starters were fantastic tonight. I actually really thought it was a great game. I thought that, like, during the middle of that second quarter, you get a little bit of like some turnover issues, and the defense was fine. Like, honestly, I didn't think that it was a problem in any way, shape, or form. Refs got a little wild in this one, just trying to keep it under control. But it was a really, really impressive game from the Denver Nuggets, man. Just very excited to see them bring that intensity in this one. Jamal Murray keeps like really amping up the pressure and amping up the intensity. Christian Braun was fantastic tonight. And Cam Johnson, we saw what it looks like with him when things are clicking.
Well, I got to say that I think that Jamal Murray looks fantastic so far.
Tremendous,
in
man.
Preseason. And this is like a very welcome sign, I know, for a lot of people. And I hope Jamal Murray has a career year this year. And I'm excited, man, because, you know, just I guess to get straight into it, that the shot, what was it, in the third quarter, second quarter, the one Jamal Murray had over 3 Raptors?
It was third quarter, and what's funny about that one is he was trying to pass the ball the entire time. And people are going to talk about him like pounded the rock and taking the air out of the ball, things like that's not what happened. He was trying to make a play for other people that entire possession. They couldn't get open, so he created a shot. It didn't matter how tough it was, and he made it anyway.
Yeah, if Jamal is in a place where he just is, and this is to his credit, he said, look, I just needed to rest. That was the biggest thing. I just needed to get my head away from basketball, to get my body out of basketball. He's been able to really take care of business on a day-to-day basis. You saw him all summer. His jumper looks smooth. Like the dribbling, the handles, the navigation, the stops and pull-ups. He's even given a lot of effort defensively. Jamal just looks like a guy that's 28 years old, that's really understood, hey, I'm actually like one of the legit best players in the sport. I can do whatever I want. And maybe this is going to be the year we get like a true fast start from Jamal. And if they get that, the Nuggets are going to be so much better because of it.
He's trying, man. Like he's said all the right things. He's done all the right things. He's been about the right things over the course of this entire offseason, into training camp, into preseason. And I do agree. I think that he's heard all the noise. He has tried to figure out exactly what he can do to make himself into a better player to help this team win a championship. And I think he sees it. I think he understands it. And I think he's ready to step up to the task. I'm not going to lie, like, he's been the leader for this team so far in like this early portion where you want to look like you're getting off to a great start. You really want to like set the tone. And I think he has set a tone even better than Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Jokic tonight, just a measly 17 points, 6
rebounds. Measly like what, 5 of 5?
Yeah, he was 5 of 5 from the field.
He did have
6 turnovers though.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about all that, like with the turnovers. But the Nuggets were just like, it's like the ball was infected, and they were just doing whatever they could just to to throw it away. They didn't have to hold on to the ball. But Jamal looks great. Jokic today, for me, just looked like Jokic offensively, and he wasn't trying to assert himself because why? But once he got to a point where like he just needed to score and could score, he did. Nothing really to talk about that. But Christian Braun, 8 of 8 from the field and 3 of 3 from 3. Ryan Blackburn, the question of the year. 19 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, a plus 17. The question of the year will be, can Christian not just elevate his shooting, but also just take more of those threes and hit them at a high enough clip to be a real threat? And if today is a sign of things to come, boy, I think the Nuggets could be flying high.
He didn't really pass up any threes tonight. That's one thing that I noticed. It was a situation where, yeah, he kind of got towards the end of the clock sometimes, but there was no hesitation. There was no question that he was going to put it up, and he put it up very consistently. Dude, he's 4 of 4 from 3 in the 2 games so far. I don't think a 3 has touched the rim once. Like the dude, he's like putting it right through the bottom of the net. There's nothing that he's like. He looks fantastic from a shot motion standpoint. 8 of 8, obviously. Overall in this game, he just like looks like a better player. And the steal that he had and the save out of bounds, like the timeout, man, that looked a little Alex Caruso-esque. It looked a little KCP-esque. It looked like one of those pest plays where you can anticipate where the ball is going to go and you make a proactive defensive play as opposed to just trying to mirror. If there was one criticism I'd have of him as an on-ball defender is that he wasn't proactive enough last year. I think like if that's a sign, if we could see a little bit more of that, where he, take a couple chances every now and then because you're so smart and you know where the ball's going to go for it, man. Just play hard.
Yeah, I'm really excited for what I've seen from him, man, and I'm curious to see like just how he continues to integrate himself with the rest of this roster, y'all. But look, today's episode is also brought to y'all by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So head to FanDuel.com to get started, because you can also get good odds on some NFL stuff this year. I'm just saying, if you happen to enjoy the NFL, you happen to enjoy horses, as some might say, this might be a good app to check out. But Snow Wolf said, "Is this the Jaguars fan club?" Did you watch that game at all, Ryan Blackburn?
I watched the first half, and then I did my job. I tuned into the Nuggets, but no, I did happen to see the final play. And Matt Moore, he said he couldn't be on the show. He was unable to be on the show because of how distraught he was from that play. So everybody, make sure to @ him and tell him I said that he could not be on the show tonight.
Oh wow! Oh man, allegations. Can we talk about Cam Johnson, please?
Of course, let's do it.
Ryan, it was like the first, few possessions. Cam got the rebound, dribbled the ball up the floor, ran a little like a kind of a ghost screen with Jokic. He drove into the paint, and I saw this on rewatch, faked it to Christian Braun, got the defender to move up, passed the ball to Peyton Watson, and then he exited the paint, kept it head on a swivel. Watson drove with the ball. Cam replaced on the right wing, got the ball back, and swish. And I was just like, wow. That's what it's like to have a forward who can do that, Ryan. And then on top of that, he took the primary assignment on Brandon Ingram today.
Thought he did all right. Got into a little bit of foul trouble early that might have impacted him in a regular season game. But I think he still did a really nice job. He was mirroring guys really well, switching out onto guys really well. There was one play I want to spotlight in the second half. It was like towards the beginning of that third quarter where Bruce Brown comes in. And this was is so small. Such a small play. Bruce Brown passes him the ball. Like he runs to the right corner, passes the ball to Cam Johnson on the right wing. Cam immediately hits him back on the give and go. Immediately hits him back. No hesitation, no question that it was the right play. Bruce gets the ball on the back cut, finishes for a layup. And man, like I wish Michael Porter the best. He's not making that play. He's just not. And the fact that Denver has a guy that can see the floor the way that Cam does, that can make the plays that Cam does, that is not just about the shooting and the volume and the rebounding. The Nuggets are going to be a better team for it.
On the other side, I actually want to finish this conversation because I have some very tangible questions that I have for Ryan Blackburn on those specific things. But y'all know what time it is. We'll see you in just a second. Oh, Peloton is shaping the future of fitness with the brand new Peloton cross-training tread plus powered by Peloton IQ. It's their most advanced equipment yet, designed to give you real-time guidance and endless ways to move. Now, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors, this is training reimagined. Peloton is built for breakthroughs with tools that help you plan, stay motivated, and reach peak performance. Now, I love how the Peloton IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton Cross-Training Tread Plus today at onepeloton.com. We'll be right back for segment 2 here of Locked On Nuggets. We are back for segment 2 of Locked On Nuggets. Shout out to you all with my friend Ryan Blackburn. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube side. We're on the way to 15,000 subscribers. And then on the other end, if you listen to this on the audio side and said, who's the man with the K104.3 voice? Give us a 5-star review on Spotify and Apple iTunes as well. Y'all, I am ecstatic for Cam Johnson. I thought, and just from a versatility standpoint, Ryan, just from an optics standpoint, we never could have, like, and this is not a shot. It's more so just about like where we are today. For the Nuggets to be able to deploy Cam as a primary defender versus wings, and especially like your longer, skinnier wings, and then to have Christian Braun and have Aaron Gordon and then like have Peyton Watson, there is so much more versatility. And what it showed me today is the Nuggets are in a place now where they legitimately could ask Cam to be the lead defender and not suffer, like schematically suffer for it. Now, it's not about Cam being like Alex Caruso or J-Dub, but the thing is, can you be competent? Like, do you know where you're supposed to be? Do you know where you're supposed to go? And can you at least hold up? Because what happens is if you can hold up and stay in front or recover, that gives Aaron Gordon more opportunity to play as the rim protector within the scheme, or even Christian Braun to play in between like the gaps and everything. So all the way around, I just think Cam Johnson adds a lot to the starting unit defensively.
Played like Chris Brown tonight, I'll tell you that. Man, I loved the addition when they made it. It was pretty clear. Anybody that's listened to anything that we've done has talked about like, holy crap, how did they find a way to go get Cam Johnson? He is just ideal for where the Nuggets are at in this place right now, because like you're 100%. The ability to match up with other wings on the defensive end, as opposed to being a guy that you need to hide on power forwards. You need to hide on non-shooters. Like I think about the way that they had to bend their defense when facing the Clippers in regular seasons, for example, where, okay, you got to hide Michael Porter. You cannot put him on Kawhi Leonard. You cannot put him on Norman Powell. You cannot put him on James Harden. Like with Cam Johnson, you can just put him on any of those guys and he'll run the assignments. He'll be fine. And then you can play around with those matchups a little bit more, and just having somebody that you could be a little bit more versatile with on both ends of the floor does really matter. Now, like if it's Brandon Ingram, totally understand, like just having him match up with Brandon Ingram and be fine. If it's Kevin Durant, if it's LeBron, if it's like some of these other like high level forwards that can really start to impact you and impact winning because of the matchup that they're pushing upon you, then yeah, that's when you deploy Aaron Gordon, I think. But it is a true asset for Denver and not a liability.
And also, Ryan, just think from a playoff standpoint, whenever Michael Porter Jr. would get on the Harden and on SGA, they knew, and he knew that like that is not his area, And so what happened is you would see him go like this to send the double immediately. And I'm like, from a scheme standpoint, you do want a double. It's actually more beneficial to double most guards than to not, because guards, getting the ball out of their hands and then giving someone else and then making them get in rotation, that actually helps you. But the thing about it now is, Ryan, Cam can go out there and do his job, and then the Nuggets could just play like a more traditional look behind him, meaning you're squeezing the gaps as it is. So from that angle and standpoint, I think having Cam Johnson in that spot, what it does, it takes some of the chaos out of your defense. And that by itself is a positive add to making the defense better, I would say.
I trust his mobility more than I trust Mike's. I trust his ability to read the scheme a little bit better. Now, to be fair, there were times where he was behind the play tonight. There were times where he was behind the play against Minnesota. And there are going to be times where he's going to be behind the play in important games when it matters. Like, he's not going to be a perfect defender. But the question is whether he can be average, whether he can be like at a reasonable baseline for what the Nuggets need for taking advantage of one of the more versatile offensive skill sets in the NBA, because like that was the thing that really stood out tonight. And it's why he was plus 23 out there in 20 minutes. He didn't do anything tremendous individually, but it's just about having him out there, taking advantage of the skill set. And then the Nuggets being able to leverage that with some of these other guys. Like Peyton Watson was able to really focus in on rebounding and passing as the fifth man in that five-man starting lineup tonight. It's very Aaron Gordon-esque. Jamal Murray was very much able to focus on scoring because of the spacing and the creation that Cam Johnson provided. Christian Braun did it. Like Nikola Jokic did it. It was really encouraging to me. And so I think that this is exactly what I wanted to see after the first game, where I thought it was just a little bit disappointing. Just the way that they came out, I didn't think that they really brought it. They brought it tonight, and that's all any Nuggets fan can really ask for.
Yeah, they got up to a pretty sizable lead, y'all, to start the game off, where it was just looking like they were playing really aggressive. They were in tune, they were in sync, and everybody was where they were supposed to be. And to the point about the fouls, one thing I was noting, I was like, it felt like Cam was trying to set the intensity defensively a little bit, and because it's preseason, he got 3 fouls in the first quarter. It's like, okay, well, I'm not playing past like the first few minutes in the second half anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it out.
Right.
And I do think that the level of aggressiveness they will be able to get to with Aaron Gordon on the floor and Cam and Christian and then Peyton Watson, however he kind of slots into that, they have a nice mix of like rim protection and wing defense. But I do got to say that the concern, as the chat has talked about in previous shows and including today, is going to be the guard-to-guard defense, because they really only have one guy that can do that, and that's Christian Braun. And then so basically from there, you got to like, hey, Jamal, we need you to hold up here, which he has at times. Then you're going to have to be able to depend on Bruce Brown, obviously, which I think that is enough. Like Bruce Brown, Christian Braun, Cameron Johnson, Peyton Watson, and Aaron Gordon. That's like, for an NBA team, that's a pretty good amount of like defenders that are like athletic and do a job. But you can see some of the weaknesses that they might run into as well.
Yeah, there are more guys that I think are capable than last year. Whether they're going to be positives, net positives or not remains to be seen. You don't want to put a bunch of pressure on Jamal. You don't want to put a bunch of pressure on Nikola in the regular season to have to do a lot of those things. So the hope is that like Cam can really do it. Like he can really step up and take on some of that burden that's a part of being a 3 in today's NBA. You just have to be versatile. You can't be a liability out there, or else you will get hunted.
Is there anything to the Kessler Edwards thing, real quick? Like, answer shortly before we get into the break. And I was watching him, and I'm just like, there's a pop to him that I think this team could use.
There is a reason that he has been in the NBA. I will say that. There's a reason, and the reason is defense and athleticism. When you put more pressure on him as a scorer or a shooter or somebody that has to do much offensively, then that's where you really start to struggle. It's one of the reasons why he flourished in a place like Dallas where, okay, they've got Luka there until he got moved, and then you got Kyrie there until he got hurt. And like that's a place where if you're an off-ball wing, you don't have to do much. You just have to stand in the corner. And like with Denver, he may have to do a little bit more. But if there is a time where Denver needs more defense on the perimeter, more defense on the interior, a guy who can switch, a guy who can guard, then like, you could do worse than the 15th roster spot for Kessler Edwards.
On the other side, we're going to talk about are the turnovers a big deal? Is it a story, not a story? But also talk about the bench, because the bench got some work it needs to do. Got some work. We'll talk about all that more on the other side here at Locked On Nuggets. Now, I'm telling y'all, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Now, right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. You pick a bet, you put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Now, I love using FanDuel for putting together the Thursday night games, the 1 p.m. game, and then the 4 p.m. games, and the Sunday night game, and the Monday night. I like to try different parlays. You could put $1 down, make your Sunday just even that much more interesting. It makes watching football that much more exciting, and you just got a little bit of something riding on the action. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. We'll be right back for the final segment here at Locked On Nuggets. We're back here for segment 3 of Locked On Nuggets here with my friend and colleague, Ryan Blackburn, the man, the myth, the legend himself, talking a little bit about Kessler Edwards, Cam Johnson, talking about the preseason game that just transpired. So as we talked about and noted in the first segment, 31 turnovers is pretty horrible. I mean, that's...
I don't think I've ever seen a higher number before.
Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, the Nuggets had... Well, you know what's funny? I remember researching recently. The Indiana Pacers had 25 turnovers in the finals this year. And that's the most we've had over almost 40 years, like something crazy.
Yeah.
So it doesn't happen a lot. But the Nuggets today, they were just like so loose with the ball. So for you, is this a story, or do you just feel like they're more experimenting and it just kind of started happening?
Yeah, context of the opponent. Toronto's really good at as the team that has 6'7" guys across the board, where they get underneath the centers and cause offensive fouls. They get out on the perimeter and disrupt the small guards. They switch, they double, they are very aggressive. They're pressing the entire time. And that definitely hurt. And I think that the Nuggets are going to have these problems throughout the regular season too. Teams are not going to be able to press them to the degree that Toronto did on game 1 of preseason night 1 for them, because this is their opening night for preseason. They're doing it in Vancouver in front of other fans in Canada. So they had some extra motivation. They had some extra gas in the tank. A team in January is not going to be able to do this as frequently, but there will be teams that try, and they're going to be teams that try Denver's second unit, especially if they don't have a consistent backup point guard.
Is that Jalen Pickett?
I don't know, because Jalen wasn't great tonight. He was fantastic in the first game, but 1 of 6 tonight. Did get some run with the second unit, but 1 assist, 2 turnovers. Was he dribbled with his back to the basket for pretty much the entire time he was out there, and picked up his dribble way too much. And that's I think the general signs of not really being able to handle NBA ball pressure, especially from NBA, like high caliber NBA athletes like the Toronto Raptors have, high caliber defenders. So is he going to be viable against OKC or Minnesota or any of these other teams that can really deploy some smaller, really difficult to get past guards? I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, that's where I think the Nuggets are just going to have to lean into. I mean, Bruce, fine. Jamal and Cam. Cam is again, if people haven't watched Cam a lot, Cam can, it's a competent wing dribbler. He can bring the ball up and, keep it from just getting ripped. In some ways, he's a better conventional ball handler than even Bruce Brown is. Bruce Brown is just really good at like the explosive dribble, like getting in and out of spots. And then he has a great in and out that he likes to put on the floor. That is the thing they will miss from Russell Westbrook. So like that is a drop off. But I do think they can find a way to space it out between Aaron Gordon, Jokic, not versus Scotty Barnes, though, because Jokic got ripped by Scotty Barnes today, and he got ripped in a playoff by Alex Caruso. And it's just like, it's just why is a 7-foot center bringing up the ball versus like a legitimately great switch defender? So they got to work that out. It will take time. But for me, Ryan, the bench is going to be a story for a couple of months. And it's not because it doesn't have talent, but it's like finding out who to play, when to play them, and what the good mixes and matches are going to be from a staggering standpoint based on who you're playing. Like, I don't think Valanciunas is going to play every single game a lot of minutes. But there will be other games where Zeke Naji, Deron Holmes, Kessler Edwards, they're going to get more minutes just because you're playing versus a team that's smaller that has more shooting around it. So I don't know. I feel like it's just going to take time for everybody to gel to figure out what exactly they do best this year.
Yeah. Nuggets got cooked by Sandro Mamukelashvili at center. They certainly struggle in those kinds of situations when they have to go against a spacing 5 or against a smaller ball unit where those guys really take advantage of their speed. And it's something that I noticed in the first game as well, where Denver, they just look kind of slow. They looked like a pretty slow team, whether it's like some of it's being a veteran team, but also they're a pretty methodical team. They play at a slower pace. They are less comfortable playing up and down on a consistent basis than other teams. It's why Peyton Watson is so important. It's why Christian Braun is so important. It's why having those guys and getting them into a place where they are consistently making those reads with the ball in their hand, I think is really, really important for this team. I thought that like Peyton did get ripped one time too, but I thought that he handled pressure pretty well for the most part. I thought Christian handled pressure pretty well. It really was just a bench thing. So I wonder if this is where we start to see the staggered looks. This is where we start to see a starter or two playing with those second units on a more consistent basis. You have to manage the minutes well, but I think you could still do it and be fine. It won't be like, it's not the end of the world if you get Jamal Murray out there trying to run things and calm things down.
Yeah, it's just Jamal and Bruce, I think, will be a really nice combo. Obviously, it was, a couple years ago. It's just figuring out, like, when exactly you're going to make some of these substitutions and where they're going to slot. So what I noticed today, if you look at, like, some of the lineups that they put in, like, Bruce Brown came in for Cam Johnson with 4 minutes left. I was like, okay, that's, they used to do that for Michael Porter Jr. And then right after that, that's when Pickett came in for Jamal Murray.
Which is different because they would usually have Jamal coming back in for the second unit, so he'd be the first one out.
Sure. And then Valanciunas came in for Jokic at 29 to 22. So this is about like 2 minutes and some change left.
Yeah.
So then they were running Bruce Brown, Christian Braun, Tim Hardaway Jr., Jalen Pickett, and Jonas Valanciunas. Now, this is obviously a full bench lineup plus Christian. I don't think they're going to play that a lot, obviously. But what I'm curious to see is that as the year goes on, they then played, by the way, Bruce Brown, Cam Johnson, Spencer Jones, Peyton Watson, and Jonas Valanciunas. As the year goes, I'm actually curious what they settle in on, because especially if they're playing with Val, I do think Spencer Jones probably has like a role to play there just because of how athletic he is. And you need that next to Val with probably Peyton Watson to be able to offset some of the stuff you're talking about. Because Val, he's slower than Jokic. Like he just is. He doesn't have the sprint speed. Like I would watch him try to like, get back up the court. I'm just like, it's like, it's Frankenstein running up and down the court.
It's me running, man. It's tough. But no, I think that's a good point. I also think is it interesting that Spencer Jones has kind of leapfrogged Zeke Naji and Deron Holmes in the rotation at power forward. Like, well, he seems to be like the guy.
It's not just power forward. They had him subbed in for Christian Braun last game.
Yeah.
He played the 2.
Well, so I in that situation, I moved Cam Johnson to the 2 and I put Spencer Jones at the 3, but 100%. Like, I think it's important. And it's one of those things that, like Spencer Jones, Matt was telling us, like he was telling us, we tried to tell the people that like Spencer Jones was really making some noise and they really like him and they really value what he does. It's one of the reasons why he was the only two-way guy that was brought back from last year. So like 3-and-D wings are huge, man. Like they just are. It is a super, super important skill to have. And he has the size. And I thought his defense tonight was really good.
Yeah, he works hard on defense, which is accounts for a lot when it comes to this stuff. But Ryan, all the way around, they get the win. It's sloppy. It's preseason, but you can see the formula is there for what they want. It's just about figuring out how everything matches up. Any of your thoughts, Ryan?
Last question I have for you. Where do you think Tim Hardaway and Julian Strawther are fitting into this conversation?
Oh, I think Tim Hardaway is getting over Julian, at least to start the year off. Julian's a better ball handler than Tim. Like, he's a better ball handler, like slasher than Tim is.
Yeah.
But Tim is just, he's a professional. Like, and he's like just stronger. He, the shot, I think is just, you trust it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And also just like, I think he's also a better defender than Julian Strawther too. Julian is just coming along. Like, he's still like very young in his process.
I want to see him, like if Tim is going to play, I would like to see him play more with Jokic and less with Valanciunas specifically. I think that will fit better for Denver because like maybe that's the stagger actually. Maybe Tim comes in for Jamal Murray and then Jamal comes back in and runs the second unit with Valanciunas out there. That wouldn't surprise me in any way, shape, or form. But I'm a little bit confused, like because they had Tim Hardaway playing power forward at one point tonight, or Julian Strawther playing power forward. So I don't expect that to happen all the time, but there is at least a concern when somebody like Aaron Gordon, or if it's Peyton Watson, or if it's Cam Johnson, if any of those guys go down, Denver gets really small really quick. So like they need one of Tim Hardaway or Julian Strawther to be pretty consistent.
Yeah, we'll see, y'all. But make sure y'all tap in. This is Locked On Nuggets. Give us a like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube side. And make sure to give us a 5-star review on Apple iTunes and Spotify. Y'all know what time it is. Ladies and gents around the world, Ryan Blackburn, Swipa. It's Locked On Nuggets.